Can you taste if food is cooked with cheap equipment? Let's find out. Today we'll be answering the question, does it actually matter where you buy your cooking equipment? We will be cooking 2 identical dishes, a lovely steak dinner, one using the normal equipment that we've bought and paid for in this kitchen, and then the other one using all equipment that we have thrifted secondhand from various provenances. Provenance-i? Then we will have a judge blind taste test both dishes to see if they can tell which one was cooked with the thrifted cheaper equipment and which one was cooked with our normal stuff. The Kitcheneers went over to the Goodwill and got some secondhand equipment. Let's see what they got. Anybody who has ever tried to cook in A, the house of some sort of parent-in-law, or B, an Airbnb kitchen, they are basically the same thing, knows that cooking equipment is really important. However, today we're gonna see how important it is. Now over here, we have all the normal Mythical Kitchen cooking equipment. We don't really buy super expensive stuff because we wanted to teach people how to cook on not super expensive stuff. That said, this is still $610. Over here, we went to the Goodwill and got a bunch of secondhand stuff, and this was only $85. Now, a lot of that price difference is going to come from the knife, which is your most important cooking tool. We've already tested out expensive versus cheap knives, but if we just look at the knives here, we have our Glestane Guto knife that is $280. That should be your biggest expense in the kitchen to invest in. Over here, yeah, we got a knife for about $9 over at the Goodwill, and this thing is, well, we'll figure it out. It's got some serrated teeth on it. We are cooking a steak, so we'll need to slice that at the end. We need to slice some potatoes. We'll see how that goes. The next biggest expense you should probably have is a pan. Ever heard of, is it pan or Pam? Pam with an M? I think with an N. With an N, pan. So we have a stainless steel saute pan here. This is a $130 pan. The thing that you get with a nice stainless steel pan is you get a heavy bottom that is always going to evenly distribute the heat. It's gonna hold the heat really well. The crazy thing is though, we went over to the Goodwill. This thing is heavy. This is in the movie when you see an intruder and somebody picks up the pan and you're like, oh, you might actually have a shot. Like, this is the ideal intruder defense pan right here. This thing is literally like 9 pounds. It's like a French broadsword that you can just swing around. And we got this thing for 20 bucks. I have no idea what the brand is, but like the bottom seems relatively flat. It seems pretty heavy. It is covered in an absolute black patina, but I think it's actually gonna cook up something well. Another big difference here is cutting board. I used to be very firmly on the side of wood cutting boards, and I still love using a butcher's block for certain things. I started cooking with plastic cutting boards at home. A lot of restaurants use plastic cutting boards, and a lot of that is for food safety reasons. They're color coded, all that. So we got a nice cheap plastic cutting board here. That's gonna be slipping and sliding around a lot, but we got some tricks to keep that in place. And then we got the big old $60 booze block over here. Dang, the utensils. Here's something that you can't get outside of the thrift stores. Look at the difference between these. You can tell which one's gonna be more fun to scoop food into your mouth and on the plate with. And that's this guy. This is that grandma estate sale spoon. Don't think that's gonna make a difference, but that is fun. And then of course we have a casserole dish because we're gonna be making some potatoes au gratin, and like both of these seem pretty even. This is actually really eye-opening to see the $85 price tag versus the $600 price tag. We're gonna see if any of this actually affects, thank you for adding to the conversation. We're gonna see if any of this actually affects the taste of your food. Now, searing a steak is going to be a big important process. We're gonna see if these are gonna distribute heat any different way. Ditto with a casserole dish. One of these, this is just from IKEA. That was like 25 bucks. I really like the look of it. But this one does feel a lot lighter, so there's a chance that it could scorch the bottom. We're gonna find out. I'm actually really curious because I have no idea what's about to happen, which is the fun. That's the fun of this. Mythical Kitchen, you never know what's gonna happen next. Someone do something wacky. Damien, run in. There, no, like something wackier, way wackier. Like run in, like do a TikTok dance. Do the like.
Oh.
Isn't that one? Oh, there it is. No, that's a meniscus injury, I can tell. Let's get cooking. We're gonna start by making a little dish called scalloped potato. Shout out to Lily Cousins and her Maine heritage, insisting it's pronounced scalloped. This ain't no culinary school like thin shaved potato that you take 3 days and you press down. And I feel like on TikTok they're going viral every time somebody made a new shaved pressed potato creation. No, we're doing like a rustic ass scalloped potato dish that could be straight out of like a Bangor, Maine household. Why are we talking about Maine so much? So we're gonna start by making bechamels here. We got our pans on. This is our heavy bottomed, nice stainless steel pan over here. Hi.
Sorry, you had called it au gratin, so is it
Oh, okay. I've been informed that I referred to it as au gratin earlier, which is the American or main form of au gratin, which is a French dish that just means like covered in sauce and cheese. So this is scalloped potatoes. Potatoes au gratin generally are used interchangeably in the American culinary canon. You go to culinary school, you go to France, it's a little bit different, but we're doing some nice rough and dirty here. Bechamel. Bechamel is French for the main cream sauce. So we're doing that. That's not a main accent, whatever, sue me. We're gonna drop some butter in the pan. We're gonna get our roux going. I wanna see how the butter melts in this like nice heavy bottomed pan here. This is definitely transmitting a lot more heat off the bat, which is interesting because this pan is super, super light. It's non-stick. When you're making sauces like this though, I don't think it actually matters all that much. The key is going to be seeing how the actual casserole dish holds up. Get that butter melted, add some flour into the melting butter. You don't have to wait for your butter to melt to add the flour. Now we're gonna go with our whisk. God, I love a good ergonomic balloon whisk. Oh, this is my like single favorite whisk. I won't even use the other whisks in this kitchen. It's got this nice non-slip handle right here. Damn, that's good stuff. Whereas this guy, things that you see, fewer actual whisk tines here. So this is gonna be a lot easier to kind of break everything up. And then this, the handle, don't know why the springs are there. I don't know, it's like an Inspector Gadget, like go-go. We'll figure that out. We're gonna dump some flour into that. The key, I think, with like pans and any cooking equipment is just find the ones you're comfortable with. And again, those things don't have to be expensive. Because to me, there are so many cooking tools that like I've gotten used to. Like if we look at even the wooden spoons, like this guy, it's filed down to a nice nub right here because I do so much scraping with it. The key with the roux here is you want to, oh God, I didn't burn it. If you ever see your roux getting a little dark, just add the liquid. That guy's getting a little toasty, we're chilling. Why did I turn the heat up so high? Dumbass. All right. Yep. Dude, I got a quarter cup of milk in my shoe. The good news is I wore my white shoes. Now, in French cookery, you only add black pepper to dishes that are dark. Similarly, if you're wearing dark colored shoes, then you cook with chocolate milk. That way, if you get it on your shoes, you don't see the stains. No, there's so much milk back here, dude. We might yell, can I get more milk? Guys, I put all the milk on the floor. Trying to estimate the amount of milk on the floor. I got a half cup. All right, cool. Do a half cup of that. There we go. All right, now we're gonna season up. Season up this bechamel. We're gonna add a little bit of chicken bouillon, spice of life. Makes everything nice. Normally you would wait for this to kind of like boil and come together before you add your cheese, but rough and dirty, man. Just add the cheese. It'll all melt together eventually. Just vigorously whisk. Season it up. Hefty pinch of salt. There we go. Wait for that besh to come together. Typically, you don't want to cook the bechamel with your cheese in it. You want to turn off the heat, add the cheese, and then it's going to get nice and melty by itself. But here, whisk through the pain. That's something I believe in. Cool. Add the cheese over here. So far, again, it's pans that you're comfortable with. I like a nice wider bottom saucepan depending on what I'm sort of using it for. But this is like a really solid pan. Shoot, this is a Cuisinart pan that we got secondhand for like pennies on the dollar comparatively. That's crazy. Looking nice and stringy. Gonna shut the heat off on that. See what this guy over here is doing. This sauce is coming together. We are using a metal whisk on a non-stick pan. There are certain non-sticks that you can use a metal whisk on. That's kind of wisdom that we're using from like 20 years ago, which is still generally true. Like all the chemicals in a non-stick pan are, I ain't no doctor, but they're probably not good for you. And when you scratch it up, it exposes more of those chemicals to you. But this looks like pretty well ironed on there. But generally you'd want to use a silicone whisk. We couldn't find a silicone whisk. You can also use a silicone spoon or spatula. We also ain't have that. Whisk this vigorously. Perfect. Two lovely little creamy cheese sauces. Now, you would generally want to wipe the milk off the floor. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna slice some potatoes instead. All right, so I'm gonna show you the most important tool in the kitchen that I love using. Hold on. Wet paper towel. What's it wet with and why is it near a grundle area? Don't ask stupid questions in here. But what you do, if you have a cutting board, see the way that's slipping and sliding around? One, I got a lot of milk everywhere. It's gonna happen in a kitchen. But two, what you can do, especially cutting boards can warp, so there's actually some space in between there. You can both get rid of the space and get some traction by adding a wet paper towel that you fold it up as many times as you need in there. So we're gonna do that. We got some potatoes. We're going rough and dirty. We ain't gonna peel them. We have this knife that we found. This does have kind of a half serrated blade, which you don't want, and I don't even know why they sell knives like that, if I'm being honest. But we're gonna try and make it work. It is flexible, which you generally don't want in a knife unless you're trying to unless you're trying to like butcher a pig and get around its nice supple joints. But, okay. I mean, it's still working. This sound is literally so reminiscent of an Airbnb kitchen to me. Because they all have knives like this, they all have cutting boards like this, and I still insist on cooking large, insane meals for my friends when I'm at an Airbnb. Does anybody else though just like mostly ditch Airbnbs for hotels? No? That doesn't happen to you? Not enough like $300 cleaning fees get you? That might just be a me and my friends thing. I think we need to bring back cruises. Let's make that a thing. Why don't we ever go on a cruise together, all of us? You guys want to do it? Pick which destination. Taylor, where are we going?
Alaska.
I was hoping you were going to say that. And in fact, if you didn't say Alaska, I was going to negate whatever you said and say Alaska. Means I'm a good team player on vacations. We're cooking now, boys. Look at this Goodwill knife. Sliding through potatoes. All right, I'm gonna slice these potatoes. I'm gonna start layering. Check back in a sec. I'm actually pretty shocked at how well that $9 knife from the Goodwill performed, especially with the serrated blades, but like, I got good technique, and I got good technique. Anything can happen. Now we're gonna check out, God, this feels so heavy now. We're gonna check out this $280 Gyuto blade. Go ahead and slice off some of that. Oh, if you see me doing that, it's just to give the potato a nice, like, solid surface, and then you can eat that for a snack. Yum! I will say, this does feel better in the hand. It's just heavier, it's sharper, it falls through the potato. You don't have to like grip and rip like you do with that other knife. And you can get thinner slices here. And I am getting thinner slices here. But again, man, like it's not in the tools, it's in the, I was gonna say something profound. It's a poor craftsman blames the eye of the beholder, I think is what they say. No, poor craftsman blames his tools. Tools are important, especially if you're trying to get to a certain level of cooking, or if cooking is just something that is really important to you. But like, you don't need them. And I think a lot of people, they kind of use expensive cooking tools as a bit of a crutch. Like I know there's a lot of, I kind of got pissed off at somebody once when they were asking about knives that I use, and I told them what kind, and they're like, oh yeah, here's the reason that knife isn't actually good, even though you think it is. And I'd eaten this person's food before, and they were a hobbyist cook. And at some point I was just like, you are not a good enough cook to own a knife that good. And I think there is something to that. For real, like if you are just getting into mountain biking or something, you don't need to buy a $5,000 mountain bike. Get something from the Target and make sure you like it. Make sure it's something that you're actually good at. I'm gonna finish slicing these potatoes. We're gonna layer them. We're gonna get some sauce on them, pop them in the oven, then we're out. Now it's time to layer our potatoes. So if you already have your potatoes in kind of an accordion-like fashion, accordion, some say the sexiest instrument, you can kind of just lay them out. We don't want them to overlap too much, but we don't want them to overlap too little. You want about like half potato coverage. Yeah, that's good enough for me. Rough and dirty, Bangor, Maine style. Okay, Julie the Cat Gaffney. Bangor, Maine. No one? Come on, it's the best one. It's the best Mighty Ducks movie. Okay, we're gonna season every layer. I think this is really important. Potatoes can absorb a whole lot of salt, and you don't need to rely on the bechamel for all the salt. Add some pepper to every layer. Come on, want some nice flavor built here. And then we're gonna add about a third of our bechamel, and we're gonna do roughly 3 layers. You don't gotta spread it around super evenly because you're gonna add more potatoes on top. And now we do it. Probably come back when we're doing more exciting stuff. We got our steak pans heating up. This is not a scientific or even recommended way to test if they're hot, but this is how I do it. I just sort of put my hands over it. They're getting there. But hey, before we put the steak in the pan, I know we're testing out equipment today, what you actually need to buy, what you don't, but you know what you do need? A good apron. This is real. This is a very good apron that we sell over at mythical.com. And we wanted to make an apron that was really quality and heavy duty and that doesn't get stuff on your clothes, especially when you're spilling milk all around the kitchen. And so I would recommend going ahead and buying this apron, especially instead of like an $8 one from the Amazon.com. Also, don't fund Jeff Bezos, fund our direct-to-consumer business. So, what are we doing? Steak, heavily seasoned with salt and pepper. Make it rain. Diamond Crystal Kosher Salt. Invest in that. Dude, I was geeked out at the resort. I met people who worked for Diamond Crystal Kosher Salt on vacation, and I was completely geeked out. It was great, dude. Be a fanboy of salt. That's what I've devoted my life to. I get why people think I'd like anime, but I'm like, no, I'm a salt nerd. All right, cool. You know what I mean, though? So many people think I like anime because like, oh, he's a nerd because he talks about, you know, the proprietary process of hollowing out Diamond Crystal Kosher Salt, and like, it doesn't translate to anime. Okay, so pans are hot. Gonna get a hefty amount of neutral oil in there. We're using peanut. That is smoking nice. Smoking almost too much. Get that down there. Splash the oil on your shoes. Shoes are rough today. Press it down. Okay, go wash your hands because you touched the raw meat again. This episode is brought to you by Dawn Power Plus Platinum Push. They say to use it on dishes, but I just use it straight on my hands. If it's good enough to clean a dish, it's good enough to clean your hands. Dawn Flour Pattern Wash. These pans are about to light on fire, huh? Yep. Sometimes pans get too hot. Well, the good news is, thank you again, sous chef. So the good news is, pan's hot as hell. Jesus. I'll just take that one off the heat real quick. This pan, it's holding its heat nicely. It's not getting too crazy hot. Getting a good sear on that. This one over here, the thing about pans, they get hot. Wow, didn't think I did that. All right, cool, we're gonna go back on the heat. As far as this pan performing, I know it's got a bunch of black crud all over it, but it is pretty damn nice. Season up the other side. You always got to do that. There's two sides to a steak. That's Diamond Crystal Kosher. All right. Bang, bang. Let's give this guy a flip, see where we're at. As far as tongs, I don't even love these tongs. Guys, can we get new tongs? Nice sear on that steak. Little crispy around the edges, but can't get a little too hot. Now, the big boys! Oh, the old barbecue kit. Don't know what to get Dad for Father's Day? Get him a barbecue kit. Or, I don't know, like whiskey-scented shampoo. Those steaks are pretty nicely seared. Not a lot to be gleaned from the pans here. Now that they're in there, we're going to go ahead and baste it with some garlic butter. Oh, whole close the garlic. I have room palm heel strike. Ow! Golly! Get that in there. Run over here. Run over here. Run over here. Garlic. Palm heel strike. Ah, lefty palm heel strike. God, he's good. Okay. Basting. Look at this basting spoon. You can only get this at the Goodwill. Get all of that butter foaming. The garlic. God, it feels nice to baste with this spoon. I will tell you that. It really does. This is fun, man. This is the kind of thing. I didn't really get any family heirlooms or nothing. I wish I would have gotten a silly spoon. Maybe that spoon's my new family heirloom. And I'm gonna like lie to my beautiful sons about where I got it. I will say this one bastes better because we bought it specifically for this purpose. All right, killer. Take the steak out, pop it directly on that. Got a nice little sear. Boom. Wow, beautiful. Gonna pop this in the oven for just a couple minutes to get it up to temp. I'm actually gonna take the heat off of that. Right, the flatter ones here, the one on the right, it's the right, so I gotta do a full turn. Remember, full turn and we're back in the right pan. So, what we're gonna do, take the basting spoon, remove that burnt garlic, pop it right there. Oh, dang it. Yeah. All right, yeah, garlic removed. Shallot sauce. Ow. That didn't actually hurt, I just got scared. Shallot's going in there. Garlic going in there. Tons of black pepper going in there. We're doing a little black pepper cream sauce. Put the pepper in first. Don't know why I did that. Garlic. Shallot. Spoons. Oh man, you got a lot more surface area on this one. We want a nice dark sauce here. We do want to get a fair amount of caramelization on those shallots. Not even caramelization, not proper caramelization. No, I want the shallots to burn. I think there's a lot of cultures that cook with like heavily burnt onions. Thinking a lot of Middle Eastern cultures, a lot of like Egyptian dishes that start with something called like carbonized onions. And you know what? It tastes really good. So I'm taking inspo from that. That's nice. Whenever you're sweating veg, add a little bit of salt. It's gonna sort of express the moisture out of it. All right, shallots are sweating down. And if you have different thicknesses of pans, if you have pans with different surface areas, it is really just about controlling your heat at that point. If you know that your pan takes a long time to heat up, heavy bottom, maybe it's a cast iron, get that on the heat super early. If you know that it's going to scorch really fast, take it off the heat. I'm gonna add beef broth. Get that in there. We're gonna reduce this beef broth down. It's gonna give it like a lovely brown color before we add our cream and butter to it. Heck yeah. Beef broth going in there. Jeez, stop spilling things, you stupid idiot. No, it's no self-talk Tuesday or whatever day it is. Again, I think I got sun poisoning in Mexico. Shut the heat off. It's getting nice and thick. I'm gonna add a little bit of heavy cream. Don't wanna add all of it, kinda wanna see where we're at here. Perfect, and then I'm going to mount it with butter. Just a little bit of cold butter into a sauce. Should get nice and viscous. A little bit of cream. Shut that heat down, because cream can curdle if you continue to cook it at high temperatures. Perfect. And then cold butter. Nah. Nailed it. Well, just gonna whisk that butter in there. Here's your steak pan sauce. We're gonna let those steaks rest. Now we're gonna cook some asparagus. Aspergrass. That's my dad used to call it. It was a fun little joke between us boys. We got some blanched baby asparagus right here. All we're gonna do, quickly saute it up while our steak rests. Get some butter right in the pan. Put the asparagus in it, a little bit of garlic. Now, we have over here on the Mythical kitchen side, this is the Ninja Never Stick pan. This has been my favorite non-stick pan of choice as of late. And then over here we got Red Boy with plastic handles. Again, this is like classic in-law pan. You ask them where they got it, and they're like, there was an ad in Good Housekeeping in 1985, and I thought the red was pretty. And now we're doing this kind of fun little wok action here. You know, these are probably gonna get hot. Burn yourself on it. Butters are stuck. It'll melt eventually. I'm just gonna add all this together. Let the butter work. It's kind of fun, this pan. Digging on it. Dump in the asparagus. Let's see if we can. That's fun. You don't even need the giant grill tongs, dude. I'm loving it. You are splashing butter close to your face. Maybe we can try and do like whoop, flip side. That's fun stuff. Guys, we're keeping this pan. I dig it. You can't do this isn't fun. You look like you're cosplaying a chef. You look like you're a background actor in The Bear or Bradley Cooper's Burnt. Asparagus, I'm satisfied with that. We're gonna give it a nice liberal dusting of salt over here. A couple cracks of pep. Listen, this saute pan, I know we're not testing a ton with these saute pans, but like there are things that can go wrong. Saute pans are super uneven. That's fun, dude. What? Tongs. If anything, it's flipping the asparagus around better than this guy. All right, this is done. Shut that off, leave it in the pan. We're gonna serve it right out of that. Now, we're gonna slice up the steak. I'm gonna use my nice knife on this guy. I might try and get a little fan cut. Some people would, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna remove the decal. Remove that ribeye cap. This single best bite of the entire cow, I reckon. Do a nice little fan cut with our knife. That means you're gonna cut down at an angle, try and get a little bit more surface area on those pieces of steak. This is how I cut steaks at home. You know, you gotta keep the spice alive in your relationship. We've been married for 4 months. So I fan cut my steaks. There. Wonderful. Okay, now the real test over here. Take off this decal. Oh, just cutting through the steak. Wow, this knife is tough to use on a steak. Potatoes, it was all going pretty good. But now let's see how. It kind of cuts like a steak knife. You can literally feel the blade bend as it goes through the steak, which is not ideal at all. It's not even cutting through it. Ruh-roh. We're starting to see the equipment falter. And the harder you have to press with a knife, the more you kind of have to like mangle the meat. So this is getting hairy over here. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, hear me out. We pivot. Carne asada burrito. Nice, heavily chopped steak. Shoot, that is not nearly as nice of a cut. I mean, it didn't even go through any of it. And I was sawing as hard as I could, but that's the thing with a serrated blade. Well, we're still gonna try and arrange it nicely. You know, it can look like a little Pablo Picasso painting, but we're gonna get this steak on the plate with our veg and potatoes, then we're gonna see which one of these dishes comes out on top. Asparagus tax. Glenn and Stuart from Sport.com, welcome.
Hey, Josh.
You ready to eat more food in our kitchen?
Yeah!
And then tell us stuff about it?
Yeah, I can't wait.
Me too. So one of these dishes, we have sauteed asparagus, a little rough and dirty potato gratin with the skin on, and then simply a pan-seared ribeye with a nice little shallot peppercorn sauce. One of these plates was cooked with $85 worth of equipment that we got from the secondhand store. The other one of these plates was cooked with $600 worth of equipment that we already own. So we're trying to see if you actually have to buy expensive equipment to cook good food. It's your job to discern which of these was cooked with the cheap, which was cooked with the expensive.
They look so similar. Isn't that something?
Oh.
It's almost like the equipment doesn't matter. It's the motion in the ocean. So listen,
Let's see.
these asparagus are really skinny. Is that like preferable to you?
We thought it was cute.
It's so good, it's so garlicky.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I love it so much. Does asparagus make your pee smell?
No, it does not. But beets make my pee
Really?
totally red. Yeah, it's called the Scarlet Trace.
Ew.
Not only my pee, the other ones too.
No, oh, whoa. All of it?
And every time I eat beets, I forget that I've eaten beets, and then I look in the toilet and I think I have colorectal cancer. This episode is brought to you by colorectal cancer.
Yum.
Just go do it. You turn 40, go get it. You know?
That sauce, dude.
Yeah, it's nice, right?
Yes! It's like my favorite kind of sauce imaginable.
Are you noticing anything different from either like, you know, the steak, the asparagus? Asparagus, we kind of just sauteed it in the saute pan. But the steak and the potatoes, I'm curious if you notice anything different about either of them.
I don't think I do. I'm actually like, can you tell me like what equipment you used to prepare them?
Pretty much everything. So the knife that we cut the potatoes and the steak with, those were different. The pans that we seared the steak with and then made the resulting sauce in, they were wildly different price points. And then the casserole dishes that we cooked the potatoes in were also different.
Interesting. I feel like a secondhand store is a really good place to get old casserole dishes.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, you
Also,
think?
you should have seen the basting spoon. I'll show you after.
Well, I can't wait. Yeah, I love buying old stuff like that at thrift stores, especially equipment that you don't use a lot, like fondue pot.
Yeah.
Man, these are both so good. It's driving me crazy, making me completely loco. Like, I'm so happy right now. I'm trying to see if there's...
Take these to your desk after,
I
Quinn.
think I'm going to. Oh my God. I will be so honest with you. It's really, really hard to discern a difference. I do feel like that steak feels like sliced so beautifully in a way that makes me think it was sliced with like a more expensive tool.
Interesting.
I couldn't say knife. Tool. And I don't know, these potatoes, they're a little thinner, maybe. That's something. But the asparaguses are just as good. The sauce is absolutely fantastic. You did a great job with both sets of tools.
And so can you. Subscribe to Mythical Kitchen.
Bye.
Quinn, which one of these do you think was made with the expensive equipment?
I'm gonna guess this one was made with the expensive equipment.
And which one do you prefer?
I love them both. I really do. I guess I'll say this one.
Go to StuartSpark.com. You are correct. This was made with $600 worth of equipment. And I think you're dead right. That's the one thing you can tell is the slice on the steak.
Okay.
You're using a $280 Japanese knife over here and then a $9 like half serrated crooked blade, which honestly slicing the potatoes wasn't too bad with that serrated blade. And then you get to a cooked steak and it's just mangling it. But
It's covered in sauce.
Covered in sauce. Eat with your eyes closed. If you do anything with your eyes closed, you can't really tell.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I do everything with my eyes closed.
Same. Lights off, in the dark, couple layers of sheets on. That's how I like to eat dinner. But ultimately, yeah, I think what we learned is, I mean, you really can get good cooking equipment from anywhere. Any equipment that you cook a good dinner on is good cooking equipment.
What store did you go to?
Well, we just went to Goodwill.
Oh,
and yeah, there
amazing.
was some really good stuff. Like over on this side, we had like an old Cuisinart pan that was just kind of a little beaten up, but it still cooked really, really well.
That's incredible.
You can find good stuff. You don't have to make a massive investment if you want to cook, but you know what you have to invest in? You your friendships,
That's so true.
you know?
Once I got steaks from Trader Joe's, and I swear to God, they were pork. Yeah, it really freaked me out. It
Okay.
freaked my bean. Okay.
So
What?